So I'm starting this video series to help everybody that is planning on their trip out to El Salvador to just be aware of everything that you need to know. I'll be starting off with flights, and that's the first video of this series, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. You know what flights to get, what options are available, and the costs and everything like that. And then you guys can make the decision and book, but you definitely want to make that decision soon, and that's why I'm starting off the video series with this one. All right, so the first and foremost, you guys need to make sure that you have an active passport. So I know I've discussed this with many of you already, but number one, you want to make sure that your passport, if you think it is currently active, that it is in fact currently active. I assumed my passport was still good, and then I looked at the dates and realized that it was going to expire a little bit before our trip. So I want you to, if you think it's good, go visually check and make sure. If it is not going to be active through the dates of the wedding and the time around it, you definitely want to get that going first and apply for that right now for that renewal. So, and then I'm sure some of you have already thought about this and are already in the process, but make sure if you haven't already sent out your renewal that you do so ASAP. That's first. All right, now we're going to talk about flights, and we're going to talk about flights in respect to people flying out from the DMV area. So obviously anybody that I'm getting this video to that's coming from other places, you're gonna have to kind of figure out your own flight situation and try to coordinate with me so we can work out shuttle service at the airport and everything. But gonna go ahead and speak to the people from the hometown. So for the majority of us that are flying out there from the DMV, we are going to be taking the 6:30 a.m. flight on Wednesday, October 30th. And that is going to be coming out from Dulles Airport. So my family, or my immediate family, Alex and majority of her family have already bought that flight ticket. For everybody that I'm speaking to in this video that has not purchased their flights yet, I strongly recommend that you also book that same flight. It's going to be Avianca Airlines, and the price for it right now is pretty much at its lowest point. It was a little bit, like probably 15-20 bucks lower about a month ago, and that's kind of the lowest it was ever at, and now it's actually plateaued where we're at right now pretty well. So I suspect that as more people book this flight and as we get closer to the date, that price is only going to go up. I don't see it dipping again, so I would strongly recommend that you book your flight as soon as possible. As far as the price goes right now, if you were just to buy the basic flight package, which only includes like a personal item, like a small bag, not even the carry-on, or definitely not a checked-in bag. But if you just needed like your little personal thing, which I doubt would work for many people, the price is $267, including all fees and stuff. If you upgrade to the like next level package for that flight, it's actually going to be $357, so it's about $90 more. So basically $45 each way, and that will then include a carry-on and a checked-in baggage. You can also a la carte if you needed more, and I think it's about $40 more for each additional checked baggage or carry-on. But I think for the majority of people, just having a personal item, a carry-on, and a checked baggage will probably work. So right now, like I said, it's $360 for that flight. There are a few flights cheaper, but not by a whole lot. And then there's more things that you're going to have to kind of coordinate and figure out. So like I said, if you fly out on the same flight with us, there's some significant benefits to doing that. Number one, we'll all fly out together, which will make it kind of fun. So that's cool. But in reality, what's more important is, number one, you'll be flying with a bunch of native Spanish speakers, because all of Alex and her family and some other people that will be coming speak Spanish. So when we get off in El Salvador at the airport, you won't have any struggles navigating all of that if you were to fly out by yourself at a different time. Second, we are going to coordinate a shuttle service to pick people up directly from the airport. And we are going to have a large shuttle for everybody that is flying at that time. So literally we will all get off the flight together, pretty much just hop on this really nice shuttle and take it straight to the venue area. Obviously, some of us will not all be staying together. We have some people staying in Airbnbs and hotels in that area, but they are all relatively close. And the shuttle service will bring us all to our spots. We'll probably even stop by like a grocery store on the way there, on the way to the venue. So that way we can, get some snacks and food and stuff like that for our time there, or we'll coordinate that later, but just something to think about. But again, if you fly out with us on that 6:30 a.m. flight from Dulles to San Salvador, it is going to make it a lot easier for you as far as getting off the flight and getting to your respective place that you're staying at. But if you decide to pick a different flight, that's totally cool. Just know that you need to coordinate with me a little bit more, making sure that either I can get a shuttle service for you or you figure out some situation with that. Obviously, people can also rent a car if they would prefer. We'll talk about some of that in a later video, but we don't generally recommend it just because of traffic's a little crazy there and there is some difficulty navigating there. They don't really have great street signs and stuff like that. So you might want to just come with us and then let us deal with all of the transportation for everybody. But like I said, if you take a different flight, we'll have to coordinate that on a one-on-one basis. Other than that, I think that's kind of the most important stuff to think about as far as flying out there. And just so you know, the flight would be leaving at 6:30 a.m. Arriving, it's a 4.5-hour flight. When we get there, it's, I guess, technically 11 a.m., but there it will be 9 a.m. because we get 2 hours back. So just know that we'll get there at 9 a.m. in San Salvador. That means by the time we get to our place, we'll probably even stop for food, but we'll probably be in the area sometime around noon. So you pretty much have the whole day to yourselves on Wednesday, and we'll be able to do some stuff. If you come in on a later flight, like there are some in the later afternoon leaving from this area, you won't get there until kind of the nighttime, so you lose all of Wednesday, which is totally okay, but just know that we're going to have activities going throughout the week, and we'll talk about that as well in another video. But if you fly out at that early time, you will make the most of Wednesday as far as having as much time as possible. But again, we can talk about it individually if you decide you need to take a different flight. As far as the flight back goes, I know most of the people that I have talked to, and especially the ones that are staying in the Airbnb with myself and Alex, we have the Airbnb till Monday. So you could either leave Sunday night if you want, or Monday anytime. The flight that we took back, or that some of my family's taking back, is at 8 p.m. on Sunday night. As far as Monday, you can take any flight back as far as you want for that. We obviously won't all be flying back together. That would be way more difficult to coordinate. So plan on just making sure you have your phone, and that way you can Google Translate if you need to at the airport. Both times Alex has been there in the last year and had to fly back. There isn't a lot that you need to be able to do and coordinate or communicate with the airport people. And for the most part, there are lines for people that aren't from El Salvador too. So presumably they would be able to speak English. But you may need to use Google Translate at worst case scenario. I'll also be free and able to answer any calls. So if there was ever a point in time that you needed to call one of us and have us speak to a flight person, We would be obviously available and willing to help with that if you are flying, just with you and yourself, with a couple people that don't speak Spanish. We'll be there to help in that sense. But as far as that goes, like I said, I would suggest staying as much as possible. We really do have some really great activities planned, and the activities will go from Wednesday through Sunday. So if you can at least stay till Sunday night, that would be ideal. But you could leave anytime Sunday late afternoon or anytime Monday and be able to basically participate in all of the cool stuff that we have for everybody. But just talk to me one-on-one if you have any questions about any of that, especially with the flight stuff that we're talking about. All right, cool. Thanks.